Guys, Monday, just on the trainer today doing maybe 3 hours zone 2 I reckon. Actually back on Zwift, got the HD Zwift set up. I've got an email for a 1 month free trial again, so decided to set up my old gaming PC in here, reinstall Zwift, so something else to look at when the weather's grim, you know. Might try out my whoosh after the trial expires. It's a nice easy ride today. Dual record my 4 hours power meter on the Wahoo, so got it connected to the 4 hours power meter. Also do some TT work today. Had a lot of travelling this morning, so had a 3 hour round trip to Manchester Airport to drop my dad off. So that's always quite tiring, so getting out on the bike now. Also collected team kit yesterday for when I'm racing in the next couple of weeks. So trying that out today to see how comfortable it is, see how it feels on the bike. Four minutes on in TT position, then 1 minute rest. Been doing that for 45 minutes already. Do it for another 30 minutes at least to get an hour of work done. Then maybe continue it for a bit longer. Maybe do another 45. Yeah, solid time in position, so always good. 75 minutes, so an hour of work in the TT position now. Gonna push it to 100 minutes total. So that'll give me 80 minutes of work in the TT position. That's 100 minutes down, so 80 minutes in the TT position. Kit feels nice as well, so used to that. I won't wear this for time trials. I've got my skin suit for time trials. This will be for road racing that I have to wear the team kit. As I mentioned, I dual recorded the activity again, so what I've done is these spots where it flattens out is where I've paused the activity and my watts dropped to 0. So I've just done some analysis between the time points on the two files, and then calculated got the average power for those, and the offset seems to be between. So in this case, it was between 6 and 18 watts, but typically in the teens. So the last 5 readings I took were 13, 15, 17, 18, 16. So I think the offset between the kickr core here and the 4 eyes power meter is reading about 15 watts lower. 15 watts lower for the 4 eyes power meter. So you can just take it as it being 15 watts lower than what's reading on my kickr core, and just leave it at that. So yeah, it's good to know. Well guys, back on Zwift today. Wanting to do some more power meter analysis, so I'm on the road bike with my Ferrero assioma, so dual recording the activity again, then do some analysis of the file at the end of the session to see how the assioma compares to the kickr core. I've got a good idea of how the 4 eyes stacks up to the kickr core, being typically 15 watts lower. Want to get a good idea of what the assioma is saying as well. Got a session today, so got finish my warm up, do some max sprints, and then I've got 8 10-second sprints to do. Obviously the 4 eyes last week didn't respond well to the sprints, so see how the assioma does compared to the kickr core. I know it'll be a lot better because I've done plenty of sprint sessions outside with the assioma, and its powers look pretty normal. Then we've got some low cadence work to do, so 3 by 12 minutes low cadence, and then 1 by 12 minute high cadence. So I think I'm actually going to do that on Alp the Zwift for the first time. So do the low cadence efforts up the Alp, and probably change map to do the high cadence work. So yeah, crack on with that. Feels so nice and smooth on the road bike. Just having your chain waxed properly. Like obviously you don't wax it after every ride when you're indoors, but you need to wax it a fair bit to keep the drivetrain nice and quiet so it's humming along. Couple of good 1300 watt max sprints in my warm up there. Actually doing them out the saddle, so in the drops over the handlebars, sort of aero sprinting position you'd do at the end of a race. So yeah, good to hit those numbers again after hitting them for the first time in a while last week. Really really shaking the trainer around, knocking it off my platform, shunting it backwards. Part of the course when you're putting that much torque through the bike.
One behind. I agree with your take on the Lamborghini, but I don't get the C-bar comparison.
Oh, well, if you put him as a sole leader in his prime, not on quick step.
Yeah. But that's what a lot of quick step riders in that era.
Yeah. But you understand, like, not the best, best lap for anyone Strada. Just see one Strada. And all your race days. It takes the truth.
One more 10 second sprint to go.
Gentlemen.
Just finishing off with a little bit of a spin after doing my 8-10 second sprints. And I'll load up out the Zwift and do my low cadence efforts up the Alp. See how this compares to when I actually did the Alp a couple of years ago, year and a half ago. 50 RPM, boys. First rep done. Lots of undulation in the Alp actually, between like 5 and 12%, so having to change gears quite a lot to stay close to 50 RPM, so like fluxing between 45 and 55 really, so whew, enjoy this rest while it lasts. I am on 50% trainer difficulty, so those 12% ramps are only really 6%, but it means I can keep it in the big ring the whole time. When I do them outside, I'm typically doing it on a hill that's a bit less than 10%, like 7, 8, 9, 9%. Just started the last rep. Hopefully I don't run out of Alp. Shorter rest. I only did 4 minutes and then 3 minutes. So, see how we got on with the final effort. Hopefully got enough road in front of me to finish it. Almost there. Last 2.5 minutes. 3x12 done. Just an easy couple of minutes spin to the top. First time doing the Alp. About 15 minutes quicker than when I did it in real life, I think. I think that was about an hour. That was 45 or 48 or something. Easy spin now, and then got my 12-minute high cadence effort left to do, which I'll do on the flat once I get down the mountain. Tried sprinting to get my speed up before going into super tuck, but only gets up to about 80. I don't know. I have to check out a YouTube tutorial on how to get to 100. Minute high cadence done. Those are always so hard, like I say. Contracting the muscle so fast, like 115 RPM, especially after the fatigue. Especially after the fatigue of the low cadence. Got the jungle KM chesty though. I look like a fucking parrot. Solid session. Happy with that. Whew, on to the next. Doing a bit of a power analysis for the two files. So this was recording the entire activity for the assioma duo Uno, and then this is from the kickr core, which is split into two activities. So first of all, since I found out with the 4Is that it wasn't responding well to the sprints, I had a look at the sprint data for the assioma and for the kickr core. Peak shape is really good for both. So the issue with the 4Is power meter was peak shape wasn't so good, and it wasn't responding to these very short efforts, whereas that's not an issue for the assioma, and the peak recorded peak wattages are pretty similar between the two devices. Now it is the case that the peaks are slightly better for the kickr core here, and that just means I see a response coming a fair bit sooner. It's like I don't need to do a full pedal stroke, whereas it feels with the assioma I need to get more of a pedal stroke in before it responds to that torque. Whereas like as soon as I apply torque, I'll notice the power go up for on Zwift, which is the kickr core. So like as soon as you apply torque, you're seeing that response, whereas for the assioma it takes a bit more of a pedal stroke. Notice that with do these little surges as part of my warm-up, where I do it's like half a pedal stroke basically, and not really getting a response from the assioma, like these peaks here, not super big peaks, max 779 watts, whereas showed that these half pedal strokes, 1236 watts max, so it's really picking those up, even though they're these sub max efforts really. So yeah, it's really impressive from the kickr core. It's nothing really against the assioma, but it is a slight limitation. But it's not the case like the 4Eyes where it's not really usable data for sprints. For the assioma, that's perfectly usable data for sprints when I'm actually outside on the bike. So yeah, I'm happy with the sprint data. Same results for looking at those 10-second sprints I did. So yeah, good peak shape for the assiomas, and the longer efforts, it's more likely to pick up the data, and peak shape being slightly different because it's just that quicker response from the kickr core compared to the assioma. But for the max sprints that I recorded, the max powers are very similar. So yeah, the responsive sprinting is actually really good from the assioma. Yeah, and similar peak powers, like I said. Looking at my low cadence and my high cadence efforts, so that being 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then this other Swift activity I did 1, 2, 3, 4. Dug into getting the average for the 12-minute efforts, and then compared it to what I got on the Wahoo. So you would just slightly the interval, and then get the same interval for like drag this across perfectly to have it be 12 minutes from when the peak, when I've started and ended the effort. And yeah, getting pretty similar results for the 4 efforts that I did, but a typical offset was quite similar to the 4Eyes actually. So I got, for those 4 efforts I did, it was 12, 17, 15 and 10 watts. I reckon it was around the typical offset for my 4Eyes power meter was around 15 watts, and we might be around 12, probably about 12, 15 watts again for the typical offset of the assioma. So the assioma being lower than the kickr core. So a bit interesting that. It might be the case that the assioma and the 4Eyes are spot on and the kickr core is slightly overreading, or it might be the case that the assioma and the 4Eyes are slightly lower, and the kickr core is accurate. Now I've got a good idea that yeah, the assioma reads slightly lower than the kickr core, maybe not quite as low as the 4Eyes, but around the same, that 10 to 15 watt typical offset. So yeah, good bit of analysis done there. Really good gym session there, super happy with that. Shoulder and tricep were feeling quite achy after my ride this morning, so I was really happy to see that it held up really alright with doing my Olympic lifts. It wasn't being aggravated at all. Yeah, pushed it, did 65 snatch, and then no messing around, just a couple of sets, worked up to 80 on the clean and jerk, which was the max I did last week. So yeah, hitting some good numbers and feeling good, so yeah, can't complain at all really. That was a solid session in the bank. No wonder my sprint numbers are going up, since I'm hitting good numbers again in the gym. So yeah. Morning guys, it's Wednesday, out on the bike again today. It's similar affair to last week, where nice day but stupidly windy again. So yeah, but getting used to riding in the wind, and it's a good skill to have. You're not going to be surprised when it happens in a race. Yeah, just having like 3 hours on Tuesday, feeling decent, legs are feeling fine after that good gym session yesterday. So yeah, can't complain really, just crack on with this ride, see how it goes. Solid 3¼ hours in the bank there. Now the brake cables need replacing on my bike, so, and I've got a different pair of bars that are slightly narrower, so I'm actually going to have a go at shifting everything over to the new set of bars, and it gives me a chance to check everything's looking all alright under there after a full winter and lots of indoor riding. Bars are all stripped off now, so yeah, a little bit of corrosion, not surprising. Switch over to the new bars, but never done that before, never removed the levers. Yeah, I want to be able to change the bars because I'm moving it from it's such a minor change, moving it from a 44 to a 42 centimeter bar. At some point I will get a nice integrated bar and stem set up, and need to be able to change it over when I have that. So yeah, but it seems pretty straightforward. New handlebars are on, and I've copper slipped the bolts this time. They weren't seized, but they're not at risk of getting that. I've got my old handlebars taped to my wheel, so yeah, I'll just move the components, the hoods across to the new bars. I think this is a similar position to how I had the hoods on the previous setup, so they're quite low, and it does help you get over the bars and get nice and aero, but no more UCI approved, no more tilted in lever hoods. But yeah, just had to sit on the bike and feels nice and good for getting into position. You're really able to get over the front end. Yeah, like I said, I feel like this is similar to how I had it before, with that relatively big drop there. Fucked it up, but still need to wrap my cables eventually, so yeah, we'll just keep having a go at it. Changing the front cable out, nothing seemed really wrong with it. It wasn't rusted or whatever, and unfortunately, so I've changed out for a new cable, but unfortunately it's not really the cable that was an issue, it's like the caliper itself so there's no cable in there. It's the caliper itself that's jamming rather than the cable that's jamming. So yeah, I have to take the calipers out, give them a clean, and re-lubricate them, and hopefully that'll fix that. But it might be the case that my cables were fine and it was just the calipers that are sticking, because yeah, it's the same on the rear, seizing constantly, so it doesn't return to position at all. Need to get those brakes sorted. That's not good enough. The Tiagra brakes on my old bike, they're absolutely fine. So I might just have a look at brakes online if I need to get new ones. But it could be the case that I just move the Tiagra brakes across to the road bike. Got a bit in over my head. Just expected to be doing one thing, moving everything to a new set of handlebars and changing the brake cables. But yeah, with the calipers themselves being seized, I don't know if I can have a play around, but I don't think I can sort that myself. So I have to take it down to the bike shop, or new calipers potentially. Try and tidy it up as best I can, and then get the calipers sorted by someone who knows what they're doing. Tidied up the front end at least, but yeah, I wasn't able to tried a bunch of different things, but yeah, I wasn't able to get the cable through the frame. See if the guy at the shop can do it instead. If not, then I'll have to externally, I'll tape some outer housing to the frame and do a external cable job, because obviously, like, yeah, I've made a fuck up, but like, deal with the situation I got myself in. So be riding on the TT bike on Zwift again. Don't know. I think the weather was meant to be nice, but whatever. I don't have a bike that I will be riding outside, so yeah, or ride the TT bike outside. I have been meaning to do that this week. Tomorrow would be good for it if the weather's nice, but we'll see. It's better that I found out these issues before, like 3 weeks before the first race, and I've got plenty of time to sort it out. Like, see what the best I can do, and if I have to hodgepodge a solution, then that's what I'll have to do, because like, I'm still gonna race. Like, but yeah, better to find this out now sooner rather than later. Really, I've got some good ideas about ways I can navigate it if these are more major issues than I realised. It's part of the course, really. Like, you ride your bike a lot. These parts are consumables. They get worn out. So you ride your bike, and these things need replacing. So it's good to get on top of it. And yes, I tried to do it myself, thinking I'd be absolutely fine, and got in a bit over my head, and ended up not working. But yeah, I think it's better that I gave it a try, rather than just every time there's an issue, go to the bike shop. Like bearings in wheels, like I don't have the specific tools to try that sort of thing, so that's why I'd go to the bike shop, or bottom bracket and stuff. But with these other things where it's like, yeah, I know how to do it, and I was absolutely fine moving the shifters across to the new set of handlebars, but then it just came to the cables, and made a mistake and messed it up. But yeah, like I said, we just take things as they come, and I try my best to sort out the bike. But yeah, it's still alright at the end of the day. Right guys, Thursday, just warming up on the rollers, and then I'll hop on Zwift. yeah, getting the hang of riding on the TT bike, actually able to get in the aero bars. So yeah, that's good because it's the same as getting your second foot in. It's just moving that second hand down and then being relaxed once you're down there. Because if you're all tense, then your steering's all over the place. You need to be nice and relaxed to make those little micro adjustments. Able to get in the aero bars for the first time, which is really good. So yeah, happy with that. On the trainer now on Zwift, so got a session today. I have a bit less time tomorrow, so I've moved my session from Friday to today, so that I can go to the gym in the evening after my session today. Another low cadence session, so it's 5 by 8 minutes actually, but 40 minutes of work, which is pretty solid. Did 36 minutes of work at low cadence on Tuesday, so bumping it up again. Slightly shorter effort, so going to do that on out the Zwift again. Makes sense. Should be fine with my big chain ring on the TT bike, as I was in the big ring for all of my efforts on Tuesday, so should be fine. If not, I can adjust down the intensity on Zwift. Also got 8 10-second sprints to do at the start of my session, so yeah, I'll get on with those. I'm really happy with how my sprinting's been going over the past few weeks. I think the gym's been really contributing to that, getting stronger, getting back up to strength again in the gym. It's really been helping my top end power, so yeah, more sprints, see how they go. Also dual recording the activity on the 4 ride so I can do some power meter analysis at the end, just to double check what I found last week, now that I've got a more rigorous method, I'd say, of comparing the two, doing this whole session. So yeah, comparing it to the kickr core, and then in turn that tells me how it stacks up to the assioma. A few nice 1300 watt max sprints there. Standard sprints that is, so getting out of the saddle, leaning over the handlebars. Crack on with these 8-10 second sprints now. Kicking the trainer off the platform again. Classic. So much torque in those seats and those big sprints though, so it's not surprising at all. Got my 10-second sprints now. They're always hard work, maximal effort, like legs burning and you just keep pushing, even though it's so short, it's well hard. Yeah, onto the Alp now to do the low cadence work. Last effort done just before the top. Because I had more efforts there, 40 minutes of work meant that I had really short rests between intervals. So I had 2-minute rests. So I was down, but not surprising. Yeah, really struggling to change gears. Having less variety on the TT bike, 45 RPM for a lot of it rather than 50, just because I couldn't get the right gear. Yeah, solid session in the bank. Didn't have to, still able to get a good amount of work done. So yeah, can't complain really. Whew. Spin it out, and then do my high cadence efforts at the bottom of the hill. Whew. Just riding around at the top of the Alp for the minute, just to spin the legs out. Now I'll try and do the 100 km/h achievement. So that means just giving like a max 20-30 second sprint while going down the hill. So see if that works. I've got the drafting power up, but could be ideally it would have been the aero one, but yeah, we'll see if we can make it work. But need to spin my legs out for a bit longer before I do a max sprint again. So yeah. Didn't get up to 100, got up to 90. There's another section, corner hairpin 15 to 16. That's like the longest stretch, so I'll give another burn on that section. See if I can get to 100. Annoying that. It's hard work. Couldn't do it. I think you probably need a TT bike and the aero helmet. Bugger. Oh well. Looks like the bottom 2 corners are the bottom 2 straights are the fastest anyway. Just a bit insult to injury, I'm doing 100 watts and going almost as fast as when I was pushing 1,000 for like 10-15 seconds, whatever. So yeah, bottom of the hill, aero power up, and TT bike is probably what you need to do. whatever, man. Got those 2x6 minute high cadence intervals done. They were alright. Yeah, not feeling amazing, so just do a quick cool down and then hop off. Normally I'd separate these interval sessions by 3 days. I've had to move it to 2 days, so it's not surprising that got a bit more fatigue in the legs than body than I anticipated. So yeah, still managed to get a good quality session in. So yeah, can't complain really. Because yeah, I don't think I'd be able to get it done on Friday, so getting it done today was the only way. So, yeah, just 5 more minutes, cool down, easy spin now, and then yeah, rest up. See how I do in the gym this evening, but like my gym work's very much based off field at the moment. Like push it as and when I feel like it. Like I'm really don't want to overdo it with the gym work, which is the main thing, because really love the gym, but if it's gonna be a detriment to my cycling, then there's no point in me doing it. So yeah, just playing it by ear basically. Done some power meter analysis from today's session and came to a similar conclusion to when I just did a steady zone 2 ride on Monday, where the offset for the 4eyes power meter is roughly 15 watts. Well, it's between like 5 and 20 watts, but averages around 15. Like the testing methods aren't super rugged for it. So yeah, around 15 watts lower than the kickr core, and then just had a bit more of a deep dive into the assioma data from Tuesday, and yeah, that's again close to 15 watts, but I'd say generally it's slightly high, reads slightly higher than the 4eyes, so probably 10 watts lower than the kickr core. So testing I did the previous week on the 4eyes, where the response to the sprints wasn't so good. I think that was the issue was the Coros watch, maybe some latency issue there, because recording on the Wahoo from the 4eyes, it was responding perfectly well to the max sprints this time, and yeah, really nice peak shape and really responding to those max sprint values. Maybe not as accurate as not as consistent as the assioma. Like some of the max values would be off by 100 watts or so, but yeah, every time I do a sprint, it would be picking it up and get that nice sharp peak shape. So yeah, the 4eyes there's nothing wrong with that power meter. It might just, I mean, my assioma and my 4eyes are reading pretty consistent, so it could be the case my kickr reads high, but. Hi guys, it's Friday, just on the TT bike for 2.5 hours today, I reckon. Get some good time and position. Started off by doing 20 minutes on the rollers, getting used to getting down into the TT bars. They're so unstable in the TT bars that I'll have to unclip and step out to avoid falling over a couple of times. But yeah, want to get the hang of that, so that it's a really easy way to warm up in the car park before races. Also dropped the road bike off at the shop today, so going to hopefully get those brakes sorted and figure out solutions to the problems I was having. But I've got a plan of how to address those any issues that I had. So yeah, it's all good. Also going to just dual record the start of this activity today and do a couple of intervals where I try and bias my pedal stroke, because I've been testing my kickr core versus my left-sided assioma and my left-sided 4eyes. With it being a single-sided power meter, it might be the case that 15 watt change is literally just all in my right leg. If I do a bit of a bias test, deliberately pedal harder with the left foot and then deliberately pedal harder with the right foot, and see if there's a significant difference there. Give me a little bit more data just to have an idea if there is some bias there, and maybe try and address that if it is the case. But yeah, we'll see. Just 4 minutes on, 1 minute off for 100 minutes, so that's 80 minutes of total work done in the TT position. really training those shoulders to hold that. Yeah, good amount of work done, happy with that. Yeah, just a little bit of spin now, then hop off. Some analysis of the data from the other day where I did some bias testing where I'd pedal harder with one foot over the other to try and understand if the typical offset I was getting from the 4eyes power meter and also the assioma was due to my power imbalance. So me being strong with my right leg, which causes the power from the single-sided power meter on the left side to read lower than the kickr core. And I think this could possibly be the case. Can't tell for certain. So yeah, just compared the two files. So this was just from the kickr core, and this was from the 4eyes, and these are these larger. These higher power parts are where I'd biased the left foot, whereas it's a smaller section as around here. But there's less of that change, even though I'm biasing the foot. It's not super conclusive, but there was some indicators in the data based off the offsets where basically I couldn't bias the right foot as much as I could bias the left foot, indicating that there's potentially more additional power that I could be getting out of that left leg. And also when I just tried to get the 4eyes and the kickr core to match, just looking at the two computer screens, I'd have to pedal. I was getting them to match by pedaling harder with the left foot. So yeah, when I do the left foot bias, it's greater. It's significantly greater than what I'm getting on the kickr core, and I was always seeing lower values when I was just pedaling normally. So I think it indicates that there's potential strength imbalances between my legs. I don't know if 15 watts is natural, but having some imbalance is natural. So you shouldn't completely change your pedaling style based off a minor imbalance, but it's something to be aware of, that I might be able to even out my pedal stroke and get a bit more power out by bringing things into balance, and that would mean pedaling harder with my left foot. It's like the opposite issue of what people would expect with single-sided power meters, where you'd think they'd pedal harder with the left side, but for me it's clearly it might be the case that my left leg's actually weaker. So yeah, good to know. I can give more in my left leg than do that, but if not, if it's I don't want my left leg to be completely fatigued all the time because I'm overdoing it with the single leg. So yeah. Not too concerned, but that might be the reason why the 4eyes and the assioma is reading lower than the kickr core, and they might all be relatively accurate to one another. Hey guys, it's Sunday. Just getting 3 hours zone 2 done on the bike today. Trying something slightly different on these indoor zone 2 rides. My power I've been a bit lazy with them, I'd say. And my power does just drop off to spikes quite a lot and just easily comes off. And my heart rate's a lot lower as a result. Just set up a basic workout in Zwift today where it's just 3 hours zone 2, so it's 250 watts for 3 hours, so forces me to keep on top of the power. And yeah, I don't know if it's necessary. When I'm outdoors, I'm easily at 250 watts, but when I'm indoors I just slack off a little bit, which I don't know if is a bad thing, because your zone 2 stuff isn't meant to be hard, and if you're forcing it, might not be good. But I've had a few weeks of this zone 2 where I really don't push it at all, so forcing myself to ride at a slightly higher wattage might be something interesting to do. So yeah, also using it to get up out to Zwift a few more times, just experimenting with things really, and get some work done in the TT position again today. So yeah, also catch up in the call of the lifetime, the Lifetime Grand Prix series on YouTube. That'll be good. Doing my somewhat standard 4 minutes on, 1 minute off in the 4 minutes in the TT position, then 1 minute on the base bars. Do that for 100 minutes, get 8 minutes of work in the TT bars. Yeah, back down now. Just done 2 hours non-stop total in erg mode, so having a little rest now, because it's hard to constantly keep pushing on the pedals. No micro rests where you ease off. But yeah, see what I think of. Need to try this to gauge an opinion of what I think about training zone 2 in erg mode, if it has any merits or if it just takes away from recovery that you need, like you ride easier in zone 2 to get that extra recovery from the sessions, or if you can benefit from riding a higher zone 2. I think it's the case once you get to that elite level, like if you max everything else out, like you max out your VO2 max, your threshold, you can't really improve your threshold or your VO2 max anymore, then that's where optimizing like the lower intensity stuff would come into effect. Like if you're doing 30 hours a week, and the only way you can see benefits is getting a huge amount of time at intensity done, that's where you do like a huge amount of sweet spot work, or really drill it on your zone 2 rides, running that high zone 2. But yeah, but then I've heard also the opposite. We drill it way too much in the zone 2 and it just completely takes away from your recovery and diminishes your ability to hit those punchier efforts. Makes a change for once at least, because I don't ride in erg mode at all. I only rode in erg mode for the Zwift Academy sessions I had at the end of last year, so yeah, makes a change. Second time up the Alp today, almost done with my 100 minutes. 80 minutes in the TT position and twice up the Alp, so that's just 15 minutes spin now, and then hop off, spend the week around 18 and a half hours again, so keeping consistent, not feeling amazing, so not being stupid, not pushing it to high 20s. So yeah, happy with this week. Another solid week in the bank. Last week of the low cadence block next week, and then deload week, and then it's time to start racing. So yeah, really exciting stuff.